Welcome to the Fantasy Football Forge. My name is Steven. It is time for week 16 of the fantasy football season, and we're going to start off by ranking the quarterbacks. And I wanted to get this video out early, similar to last week. So if this is the first time you're coming across my videos, usually I release them all on Wednesdays. But with the importance of, especially I think, the quarterback for people who have to stream it, it's really important to not miss out on this position because it can really make or break your fantasy week. And so I want to make sure that you're putting in a waiver claim on the best guy for using this week if you're streaming at the position. And so right over here, what you are seeing is my ranking of the position. I will go through them in my tiers that I have set up, which are separated by the color over here. Obviously, player name, the opponent this week. Here's the difficulty of that matchup. And then we have the ECR, the expert consensus ranking from Fantasy Pros website. That is where I started off with these rankings, and then I jumbled them up from there. And I have done my projections for them as well, which I will get up on the website. I'm going to try to aim for getting these up kind of as I get the projections done. So it is possible that I will have the quarterback up on the website pretty shortly, after maybe by the time this video is being seen by most people. That is at www.theffforge.com. There is a link down in the description to that. And then over here you can see the difference that I have, and this is where we'll see who I'm going to be talking about the most at the very least here. Let's just get started because we can keep this pretty quick today. For my first tier of quarterbacks, these are the guys who I'm really pretty much very confident in this week. And that starts with my quarterback one on the week, Josh Allen, followed by Patrick Mahomes, Justin Fields, Tua Tagovailoa, Kirk Cousins, Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, Geno Smith, Daniel Jones, and Jared Goff to wrap up my first tier. The only two in this tier that I really have a big difference with compared to the experts at the time of this ranking are Tua and Kirk Cousins, who I have each 5 spots ahead of the ECR. As far as Tua goes, Green Bay is not the best matchup. You know, this could definitely be a barn burner type game, or at the very least, it could be very back and forth. I'm expecting there to be a decent opportunity for a big game this week from Tua. I wouldn't want to miss out on that, and I don't think it'll be a bad game. And then as far as Kirk Cousins goes, going up against the New York Giants, a similar situation. You know, I'm really confident about him this week, pretty excited about the potential there going up against the Giants, one of the better matchups in this group of players and one of the better quarterbacks out of the group combination there. Just a real quick heads up on these 4 especially, I had a really hard time in what order to put them. So if you do have 2 of them, as always with any of these positional videos, you can ask me a question down in the comments and I'll be happy to get back to you on that as far as start-sit questions go. With that in mind, also, of course, I will be live Saturday this week. The main slate of games is Saturday, 1 hour prior to kickoff, as normal. Probably won't be here on Sunday for Christmas. With that out of the way, let's move on to my second tier of quarterbacks, which is Aaron Rodgers, Trevor Lawrence, and Tom Brady in that order. As far as these 3 quarterbacks go, I am nervously excited about them. This is probably as high, for the most part, that I've had Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady most of, if not all of the season. And then Trevor Lawrence is really the one that I'm the most nervous about, and which is why I have him 7 spots behind the ECR. The ECR on him is 6. I have him ranked 13th currently, going up against the New York Jets. I don't think I really need to explain why I'm nervous about that. The New York Jets are a very good defense, been very tough, don't allow a lot of fantasy points to the quarterback position, and so, I don't think that Trevor Lawrence has quite gotten to that point where I can just totally trust that he can overcome a bad matchup like a Joe Burrow or even a Dak Prescott. So very much nervous about that, and I would try to avoid playing him if possible this week. And then that brings us to my next tier of quarterbacks, starting off at QB 15 with Deshaun Watson, Brock Purdy, Andy Dalton, Sam Darnold, Derek Carr, Zach Wilson, Ryan Tannehill, and Kenny Pickett to wrap this little tier up. And over here you will see 6 spots higher than the ECR on Andy Dalton. I have him ranked 17th. The ECR on him is 23rd, going up against Cleveland. It's a pretty neutral matchup as far as the quarterback matchups go this week. And really, I'm willing to give him a chance this week. I am nervously excited about him in a similar way to Trevor Lawrence, except it's a more hopeful feeling than a more dire feeling. Then right here at 18.5, Lamar Jackson. The rankings are a little bit jacked up from the ECR right now because because we don't know for sure if Lamar Jackson will be playing or not this week. If Lamar Jackson were to go, he would obviously be a top tier guy. I would rank him, I think 6th is where I would rank him, so I would have him up here above Joe Burrow and push that group back one more spot. So give us a nice even 12 quarterbacks who fit into a nice little tier. Then we have Kenny Pickett here, who I have 9 spots ahead of the ECR. The ECR in him is currently 31st. I have him at 22nd, and this is going to be a similar thing. We don't know for sure if Kenny Pickett will be playing this week. There has been a lot of positive news about him playing this week, though, so it's looking pretty likely. But going up against Las Vegas, it's a good matchup, so he will definitely be a solid enough option. It would be nice if he's finished more drives off and gotten more touchdowns this season so that we could rely on him just a little bit better, because I'm very close to putting him up here, at least ahead of Ryan Tannehill. That might happen. Then Jalen Hurts is also someone who I will not be ranking, actually. I will be ranking down here Gardner Minshew, who I would have ranked 15th, put him in this little second tier of nervous excitement. And as far as Jalen Hurts go, obviously, if he is playing, he's also right up in that top tier, and he's a top 4 guy. He'd be ahead of Lamar Jackson for sure. You're starting him if you have him. We don't need to talk about that. Then let's move on to this next tier of guys, Matt Ryan, Mac Jones, and Russell Wilson, who I am less hopeful about than this group of guys, but there's some decent matchups here, some types of matchups where for the Chargers and Cincinnati, those teams could put up a lot of points early on these teams and force them to pass a lot. Can't count these guys out this week, that's for sure. And Matt Ryan, I have 4 spots behind the ECR. The ECR has met 19th, I have him at 23rd, and I can't trust him with how that offense has been most all weeks this season, with how his performances have been. That's why I have him lower than the ECR. Let's get moving on to this final tier of quarterbacks, starting off with Baker Mayfield at 26th, followed by Trace McSorley, Tyler Huntley, Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke, and Davis Mills to wrap that group up. As far as Trace McSorley goes, I have him 8 spots ahead of the ECR. This once again just comes down to some uncertainty as to who will be the starter there for Arizona. I believe it will be Trace McSorley. As you can see, they didn't have any other Arizona quarterbacks ranked, so that'd be the expectation. People just didn't have that moved up yet. And then Taylor Heineke, I have 5 spots behind the ECR. The ECR in him is 25th. I have him at 30th. Going up against San Francisco, I think the single worst matchup for quarterbacks, at least right up there with New England, according to my matchups here. And so I'm deathly afraid of Taylor Heineke this week. Would not want to be relying on that in the playoffs. I believe we covered Gardner Minshew up for the most part, going up against Dallas, so there is some apprehension as far as to how good of a week he could or could not have, but he has proven that in a small sample size, that he's it fits this Eagles system quite well, and he's got even more weapons this season than last, so I would be pretty willing to throw him out there. I very well may be grabbing him off of the waiver wire to start up ahead of Deshaun Watson myself this week, or trying to at least. So we shall see. And then Mitch Trubisky, I am not ranking, but if I were, he would be up probably just the same rank as Kenny Pickett. Both of them bring a little bit different things to the table, different levels of confidence, but he'd be right up in that tier at the very least. So that is it for the quarterbacks. Look forward to my other positions. Might get the tight ends out later tonight. Otherwise, they should all be coming out, Wednesday, maybe into Thursday, depending on how long it takes me to get some things done. I will be taking a little bit more time than normal to get these rankings as close to my final rankings as possible. That could delay things, and they'll come out just a little bit more spread out than normal this week. Thank you very much for stopping on by. You take care. Peace out.